Hello, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to the NetSuite Podcast SuiteWorld edition here at SuiteWorld 2025. The room is buzzing. We are so excited to be here. You can feel the energy, and I am your host, Tori Youngblood, joined by my co-host here,
Fritz Nelson.
Fritz, how does it feel to be back at SuiteWorld once again?
SuiteWorld is always a very exciting time. It is. People are lively, people are looking to learn. We're sitting out in kind of the middle of it. For people who are just listening in, describe the environment.
Yeah, so if you've ever been to SuiteWorld, then you are at Caesars Forum. Then you are probably familiar with the escalators that you take to come down for registration. So we are at the very bottom of the escalators, which makes for a very lively set. So we can see everyone coming and going to SuiteWorld, picking up their badges, heading to the Expo for even more action. It's a really great time, and everyone's excited to be here.
Yeah, and then heading over to the keynote, which is in this unbelievable, massive tent right next door. It is a huge structure, a beautiful structure. We'll talk about it more later. But people are kind of streaming by. We're kind of the greeters, I guess, waving to them as they come down the escalator.
Yeah, that's really why we're here.
Yeah.
They just asked us to do the wave to the people, and we thought we would start talking. But I actually got a sneak peek of the tent yesterday. I snuck in, and it's going to be an incredible show. Yeah,
the keynote stage is what they call in the round, right? So it's in the center, all the seats around it, and the roof and all of the surroundings are black. And we're going to do some spectacular things with that, I believe.
And Fritz, I know that's really your favorite part of the keynote is the opening act.
That's right. We'll talk about that afterwards, but I think there's going to be quite a show. Kick things off.
There's going to be quite a show. A lot of exciting announcements are coming from Evan's keynote. And Fritz, you and I have spent a lot of SuiteWorlds together now because we started at NetSuite around the same time. It was about 7 years ago.
Oh, you went and looked it up? 7 years?
Fritz, I've been counting our days together ever since.
7 years.
The last 7 years.
One locust invasion. Yeah, that's a long time, but yeah, I think that was about the first time I went. What do you remember about that experience?
I remember there was so much buildup for SuiteWorld because everyone works so hard to make this event come to life, which is one of the coolest parts about being here is because you're seeing customers really enjoying their time here. So it's great to hear how they're utilizing all of the action here. But my first SuiteWorld, there was so much buildup, and I didn't really know what to expect. But my expectations were completely blown out of the water because it was much more than I could ever have expected.
Yes, and I spent many years in the media attending events like this, but I would just go to the keynote, usually not for NetSuite, but other companies, very boring, kind of dry keynotes, and this one was an extravaganza also, as you say, blew my mind a little bit. Show floor, the activations of all the incredible customers. You have these areas where there's these little puppy dogs.
Yes, I was just about to say the puppy dogs.
And lots of experiences like that make it a fun environment for people to be in. The parties, the learning, it all comes together. So there have been 7 of them in between. This one's going to be maybe the biggest. That's my prediction.
I think so. I think you're onto something. I think this might be the most special keynote we've heard, the most SuiteWorld we've had, but the goal is always to make them bigger and better than the year before. And every year, I think you couldn't possibly do such a thing. You can't make this bigger and better, but every year I stand corrected. And the Expo officially opened at 5 p.m. last night, and walking through it, and as you mentioned, the customer activations, they get bigger and better every year. We have Homage here, which provides apparel for your favorite sports teams. And there's
What's yours?
I'm a diehard Chargers fan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. What
Sorry
about
about
you?
Rams.
I'm loyal because I've stuck around all these years, but we're off to a good start. But that's not what we're here to talk about. Amazing customer activations. We have Tecovas here, which I bought my first pair of Tecovas boots in Austin in their flagship store. So it was really cool to see Tecovas on the Expo floor this year. And there's so much more to come. So it's really neat to see them just stepping up year after year.
Which Tecovas did you buy?
I wish I remembered the name. It was...
What color?
So they're a little shorter.
Okay.
They're black and white.
Okay.
They go with everything, which is why I bought them. And I've made these boots my entire personality. I wear them everywhere to the point where if I'm on a trip somewhere, my dad and my brother will text me, "You're wearing your boots, aren't you?" To which I say, "Of course I am."
Tecovas, great longtime NetSuite customer. Fabulous story. I have not bought my pair yet. But I do plan to go to Austin in a couple weeks for the Grand Prix, and I'm going to go into the flagship store. So that's my plan.
You absolutely have to. It is such a great experience. What kind of boots do you think you'll buy, Fritz?
I might buy I don't know what kind of leather. Maybe the I think black kind of.
So it goes with so you can also wear them with everything.
Yeah. But not cowboy boots per se. I don't know. My dad used to wear cowboy boots, but he was from Montana. I'm from California. I don't
so you'll feel like a poser.
Yeah, I'll be a faux cowboy.
No, I think it's all in the spirit of the boots, and you can tap into your cowboy spirit, and then go line dancing while you're in Austin. So
Okay. Have you been line dancing?
Yes. I have. I'm from Bakersfield, California, where we do a lot of line dancing.
Yeah. Cow tipping and line dancing.
You got it. The best hobbies. So, Fritz, it's been fun. It's been fun chatting. I think we could do this all day, but we are actually joined here by a special guest.
Yes, we have a new face.
We do.
A new voice.
A new voice, if you will. Drum roll. Will you introduce yourself, please?
I will. My name is Chris Blum. I'm the security architect for NetSuite, and I'm super happy to be here with you guys. I've been to SuiteWorld a lot of times, but this is the first time I've been in the booth with you.
Well, we're happy to have you. So when you say long time, what do you mean?
Well, this was the 7th time you guys have done SuiteWorld together, but this is my 27th year with NetSuite. I am one of the 4 founders of NetSuite.
Wow. We are in the presence of royalty here.
True NetSuite royalty. Remind me to get an autograph afterwards. What do we have
what do we
here?
have there?
I have an old photograph from the old days. These are the actual 4 founders of us all together.
Okay.
Look at you rocking the Argyle sweater.
So for anyone at home or who's listening to this rather than watching the video component of this podcast, Chris pulled out a photograph way back when from the early days in the infamous parking lot with a liquor store and a hair salon, which was our first NetSuite office. But it wasn't NetSuite then, was it, Chris? It was NetLedger. So can you take us back to 1998? How did you get involved with starting NetSuite?
Well, I'm like the other founders. I'm ex-Oracle from the beginning. So being Oracle NetSuite feels like home to me. We'd all come from Oracle originally and found our way to a startup that Evan had kicked off in the mid-90s. Evan was a media guy. He loved the new media experience and had been doing Oracle media things, and then decided he would do some internet media for the web and invited me to join him. And we found that that wasn't going to be the business model that succeeded after a while. And there was a famous phone call between Evan and Larry. That story is pretty well known. And that kicked off NetLedger, which was going to be internet accounting software at the beginning. The vision for the suite was there from the beginning, but we knew the core of this idea was accounting. And so to get the branding right, NetLedger was the start. And so that's where we began, was a new startup after a couple of attempts at something else.
And people listening in, you can. We have a great podcast voice with us here today. I think I could listen to you like read an income statement, and it would sound wonderful, very soothing.
I agree.
Cost of goods sold is $240.
See, we were right.
It's perfect.
In this photo, I see you. I see Evan. Who are the other two?
That's Bill Bailey to my right and Dave Lipscomb to Bill's right, the tall guy.
And are you guys drinking 40s?
We were drinking some old English 800s there. We're living the malt liquor dream. That's what you could get cheaply when you were starting a startup company, right? We were living on a shoestring above a liquor store. We couldn't even get commercial office space. We had to find an apartment that was owned by a friend of ours who would be willing to let it go for the mere, I think, $5 a square foot. And that was what we called an office.
These were the early startup days, the garages above the hair salon. Wow.
So, Chris, you all were building this cloud company really in the heart of the .com era. How did you stay grounded and kind of faithful through the ups and downs of that time?
Well, you have a vision for where you think this is supposed to go, which is you need to find customers to whom you can make a promise that they are going to believe in with you. We believed in this idea very deeply, but it was early days, right? People hadn't made any transition to doing business on the internet or on the web. There was no notion of software as a service that you could use. And so this was really the first rollout of that idea. And what we needed to do was convince small business owners that they could rely on us to provide this service to them. And there were some challenges at the beginning to get there. But what you find is small businesses saw the promise as much as we saw it when they would run into the problems that we were promising to fix. Backups gone wrong, fires that would ruin a building with a computer in it. When your data's gone and you have to start over, you naturally start looking for what's a better way. And we promised the confidentiality to keep your data secure and safe, the availability of uptime to make sure your data was always there when you wanted to go get it wherever you were, and the guarantee of integrity. Your data was always going to be exactly the way you put it in there and it calculated correctly, because we, as ex-Oracle people, built it on Oracle databases from the beginning, and the power of the Oracle database could not be denied.
Yeah. I think you being NetSuite's security architect, back in those days, that must have been a hard sell. Now, the Oracle database began or was created 47 years ago for the CIA. So if you wanted something you could trust, that was a pretty good thing to trust. Did you guys trot that out, or what were some of the conversations about security in the cloud 27 years ago? Couldn't have been easy.
Well, small and medium businesses didn't really have the wherewithal to put together an Oracle database-based data center or solution. And so what we needed to do was explain to people you could get the power of the Oracle database for a small to medium-sized business without having to front the huge initial costs of standing up a data center for yourself in these ways. Large companies have been enjoying the benefits of the power and the performance and the capabilities, like the CIA, who could afford a nice big data center, for a long time. But to begin to get a small to medium-sized business model going, which is what we were targeting at the very beginning, they saw that value as well, and they certainly believed it. And that was really what brought the customers, I think, to our door at the beginning, was understanding that we had something they couldn't get for themselves by trying to take their own dollar and extend it in that dimension.
If you wind the clock now, 27 years ahead to where we sit today, how are the security challenges different? Clearly, people have gotten the message of the cloud actually being maybe that safe place that you knew it was 27 years ago, but the conversations are different.
Well, certainly the world understands security or cybersecurity as a problem space with much more fluence than they did back then. People in the 90s or early 2000s, when you said computer security, that it almost felt like a foreign language. It was something that was for the computer heads, not for the people. But we all understand what it means to protect our passwords or our personal information, and the way that we all rely on all of these interconnected systems. And so today, it's very easy to tell someone, we have a fantastic story for you for confidentiality, integrity, availability. We're going to keep your data secure. We have a track record, a history, and the capability to do that for you. And so, because everyone understands the value of that now compared to then, it actually is a lovely story to be able to tell today. Now, the threat landscape continues to change. It's always going to continue to evolve, and we're always going to continue to move with it.
So fast forward now, 27 years later, we are very much in the AI era, and you really can't go long or far without hearing about AI, especially here at SuiteWorld, because at NetSuite, we are about AI everywhere. So, Chris, my question for you, what parallels are you seeing now with AI and people's perhaps hesitation to use it because of these security challenges that they may have faced back then with the cloud?
Well, I think a lot of people are uncertain about AI and their data, and security is a part of it, but there are a lot of other questions too. And we have an understanding about what we want to bring to customers, because their data historically in NetSuite, it would go in, they would run calculations, they would run reports out of it. But AI lets you take your data and in some ways bring it to life, to interconnect it, to weave it into new facts and stories that let you make faster, more precise decisions with your own information as it already exists today. You've been accumulating it for years. It's already there. And all of a sudden, AI unlocks it to do new things. And clearly, security is part of our story for how we want to make sure that happens in a way that you, the customer, are very happy with what it gives you, but aren't worried about what it doesn't. And so it's a very exciting time. I'm going to be speaking on security here at NetSuite later today for those people that are present, and we have stories around how we're delivering great AI solutions and maintaining our security commitments.
Can you give us a little sneak peek of what you'll be talking about later?
I mean, we can talk about golden retrievers and mixed drinks right now, but those are parts of my talks that I don't want to spoil too much here.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
These security people, they like to live in the shadows.
They're really making things interesting over there. So, backtracking just a little bit, you're in this parking lot, in the hair salon, with the liquor store, you're drinking beer. I think you said at one point off camera you were eating licorice. At what point did you think, wow, this was a great idea and this company will be successful? And what was that like to realize that in that moment?
It was about 10 p.m. on a Thursday. I had been staying through one of our early deployments of the software. I was partially responsible for pushing production code at the time. And I was making a pot of coffee for our CFO, who was sitting on a school desk chair in the middle of the family room. Like everybody was crammed in there together. His name was Jim McGeever. He would later go on to be our CFO, CEO, a great business leader at NetSuite in its history. And he was the one that looked at me and said, "This is really it. This is going to be amazing." And it was the perspective of somebody who was a real numbers guy who understood where we were, even though it was a kitchen above a hair salon in this little apartment where we had 20 people crammed into the family room, that it turned a corner for me that this wasn't just another startup. This was a successful business already, even though it might not have the trappings of it in the moment.
You guys are sitting around, Jim McGeever's on a beanbag chair. We're going to make it, guys. And 2 months later, we have office chairs, desks.
That's right. We invested
file cabinets,
Aerons, and all the fancy Silicon Valley things that come along with that a little bit later. But at the moment, it was pretty spare and sparse. But it was a great story from the beginning.
Somebody brought in a craft beer. We're like,
Ooh,
whoa.
a little IPA.
Exactly.
Really getting fancy here. And so, Chris, you, again, have been here since the beginning. So that means you've been here for NetSuite's IPO and for their Oracle acquisition. Can you walk us through these big milestone moments and what those meant to you?
Well, I like to tell parts of those stories less from the celebration side, but a little bit more from the darker moments. There are moments where we started in 1998, but if you've been around a long time, you remember the thing called the dot-com crash. And then if you were around for 2008, you remember
the banking.
The Great Recession, right? These are times where, just like every other business and all of our customers, we had to face some hard decisions. And it's the resilience and leadership of people like Evan Goldberg, who took us through some really dark times and made sure that we knew everything was going to be okay, that we had plans, we had a future, we had a story that was beyond this moment, and it was going to be okay, and we were going to be there for our customers through all of that. And it has continued to be true, and we expect that to continue to be true going into the future. And that's why, as we're looking towards Evan's keynote, I am super pumped up for what's coming in the future.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. Tori, if people want to watch that keynote, how do they do it?
I'm so glad you asked, Fritz. So for everyone who might be watching on YouTube, you should head over to netsuitesuiteworld.com/on-air, and that is where you can register for our free, doesn't get better than that, free virtual program, and you get access to all the keynotes. But there's more. You also can access virtual breakout sessions, virtual networking, connect with others in the NetSuite community. You can get access to learnings and different trainings. So it's a really cool resource. Head over there. Again, netsuitesuiteworld.com/on-air.
And what time is your on-air jazzercise class that you're teaching?
That will be at 8 a.m. sharp tomorrow.
Oh, wow, I don't know.
And I know you'll be making it because it's your favorite class.
Well, let's talk a little bit about Evan's keynote.
I'm so glad we get to talk about Evan's keynote because, as I said, I think this might be the biggest one yet.
Did you say that?
I did.
I thought I predicted it.
You didn't really.
Okay. Well, if it's not, then I'm blaming you.
Roll the tape back. We need to check.
Well, I think what I would ask you, Tori, is you talked about AI a little bit here with Chris. Obviously, I would guess AI is going to be a hot topic.
You think? What tipped you off to that?
I'm seeing the words AI sprinkled out throughout here, so
Just
that's
flashing at you from every corner here at SuiteWorld. Yeah, as I said, I do know I said this for a fact. You can't go far without hearing about AI at NetSuite, but really, especially at SuiteWorld, it is everywhere. And we've been embedding AI into the suite for many years now, but over the course of the last few years, we've really ramped it up, and it's been really neat to see that progression and that evolution of the software because we're making it more intuitive and accessible to our customers who maybe a couple years ago, maybe 6 months ago, were not sure if they wanted to use AI. They didn't know if they could, if it was something that would actually benefit their businesses. And so the fact that we're rolling out these solutions that are, again, very intuitive, easy to use, and are actually causing faster insights, better decision making, it's really neat to see. And so I predict that we'll be seeing more incredible solutions that are going to be making the suite even more AI forward.
Well, I want to tell you, Tori, that I have a little bit of inside information on this, and I was going to just spill it all here, but Chris has inspired me to be more cagey about sharing this sort of information. But here's what I will tell you. I mean, I think one of the things that we've seen is all of us have probably, I hope, used AI in some way, maybe unwittingly even, used AI in our own personal lives. And I think the business case for it inside of whether you're a startup, mid-sized company, big company, is how can it transform my organization? And what I think you'll see, without giving away anything that Evan's going to talk about, is just how it has to be kind of everywhere, part of everything that you're doing inside of a business system like NetSuite.
Yeah, it's what Evan always says. Brian Chess, our SVP of Technology and AI, he always says it as well. And that is, our goal is to have AI that is built in, not bolted on. So it is this natural part of your workflows, and as an extension of that, a natural way of running your business that you just become accustomed to, and you're seeing, again, these great results from it. And so, Chris, let's turn it over to you. What are you most excited about in Evan's keynote to come?
Well, Fritz sort of alluded to the fact that I choose not to take any sneak peek. I might have an opportunity or two to look ahead, but I don't want that. I love to face that keynote with surprise because it has been spectacular every time he's done it. And this time, there is a lot of anticipation. We are really hoping for some big showmanship, right? There's going to be some pretty exciting theatrics, I think. And that's actually the part that I love the most. I work on a lot of these things with AI a lot of the time, but I don't get to see the show when we're doing it. And so I love the theatrics. I love the excitement and the spectacle.
One of the things that Evan has always talked about in these keynotes is this notion of sweetness. We talked about at the beginning, NetLedger became NetSuite because we're building a suite. And the idea that it's not just for one part of the business, but it cuts across your entire business. And so I think one of the things I expect to hear is how that notion of sweetness is benefits even more so from AI.
Well, I can tell you the suite has been there in the vision from the beginning, and it is coming alive through AI even more than it ever has before. It is a great time to be part of this story. So I'm super glad that we're here together for this next moment.
I am too, and I think in the spirit of that, we have a segment that we are going to introduce in our various podcasts throughout SuiteWorld called Lightning Suite.
Lightning Suite.
And I think it's time to put our new guy on the spot.
Yeah, Chris, this is initiation, and I know you like to be mysterious a bit. Fritz is trying to be more mysterious, I guess, but it's time to uncover just a little bit more of who Chris Blum is. All right, Chris, are you ready?
No, let's do it.
All right, first up, coffee or tea?
Coffee, please.
Early bird or night owl?
Oh, early bird. I'm the one that wakes up, and if I wake up the rest of my house, I'm in trouble.
You're getting that worm.
What is a business tool you can't live without?
It's NetSuite.
Oh, surprise answer there. What's your guilty pleasure?
Ice cream. Sadly, ice cream is something I eat practically every day.
Do you have a flavor you like?
Anything with chocolate is going to be just fine, thanks.
What's the first app you open in the morning?
Email. I need to be up to date on email. That's where all my good notices from NetSuite show up first.
Truth or dare?
I don't think I have space for a dare. We better go with truth.
All right, so I have a follow-up question to that.
Okay, great.
If you could go back in time and talk to the young Chris Blum in the parking lot, what advice would you give to him?
I would say you too have made it out of Bakersfield, Chris Blum, and this next chapter, you need to be ready for all the work ahead of you, but you are going to be so happy.
That is so great. That is what I would tell young Tori as well. Well, Chris, thank you so much for answering our questions, for coming on the NetSuite Podcast, SuiteWorld Edition, and we actually have some exciting news for our viewers. If you liked Chris's voice, which I don't know how you could not, because as Fritz said, it is so soothing. Chris, do you want to do the honors and tell the listeners what's going on?
Well, we've had a change, and so I'm going to be your host for the NetSuite podcast, not just the SuiteWorld edition, but going forward. And so
Yay.
I'm excited. Oh, good.
Yeah, we're going to start every episode with a reading of flight takeoffs and landing, and just hear that beautiful voice. Chris, since you are the new guy, put you on the spot. Why don't you take us out?
Okay. On behalf of Fritz Nelson and Tori Youngblood, I'm Chris Blum, and this has been the NetSuite Podcast SuiteWorld edition. We're going to head over to netsuitesuiteworld.com/on-air to see the keynote live, and we'll be back here afterwards. Thanks all for listening.